All right. So the next thing that we're going to do, so Erin, you would get a ebook. So Erin, you get access to Passport to more. Guys, I am so excited. I feel like I've never had the opportunity to speak to persons about travel. Like I said, it's in my top three things. You don't really get to, other than when you're traveling with your partner and if you run into someone, you really get to really speak about it or who you're traveling with. And so I am so grateful to be able to be on this call and to be able to, have this conversation. I am so excited. I am so excited. And I'm really, really grateful to be here with you guys tonight. So with that being said, tonight has been nothing short of powerful. But before we go any further, I want to thank each of our incredible speakers because they didn't just show up. They poured into us technically. Jessica, thank you for your honesty with budgeting and for showing us how travel can start with just intention, with just booking the flight. Jessica's a nurse, and I want all of us before we just leave to say to that Bahamian, that is working class, how could I afford to? I know we talked about just buying the ticket. So what is the next step? After we buy the ticket, how do we afford it? How do we afford to say, okay, I want to take a trip to, and I give cost breakdowns and Passport to more where I said, okay, what a trip cost us in Paris, what a trip cost us in Dubai, and how you could afford it. I even have a system in there. But I want to hear from you. How do you afford to do it? What do you say to the Bohemian that is on that says, I want to be able to go to Dubai? I know the tickets, can be on the pricier side, but what do you say to the person? What do you say to the person that says, give me some steps? Give me what do you do? What are your best practices for saving up for a trip? Also, it's a two-part question. And how much in advance do you book your big international trips?
Well, for me, my tips and tricks with saving up, there are a lot of things that you do at home that is expensive. And we don't realize how expensive it is until you realize that your $20 big boy plate is a lavish meal in Colombia. And so sometimes you have to sacrifice with saying, okay, maybe I'm gonna meal plan and cook at home, and I have this trip coming up, and so that's a great way we save. You save with the things that you do at home. Find your time doing stuff that's free and stuff that you can spend low cost on, so you can live lavishly in somebody else's country. So that's my way of saving and my way of planning. Now, how far in advance you plan a big trip? What I do is I go on Expedia, the various booking sites, and if I have somewhere that I'm like really interested in, I'll go ahead and research when the ticket can drop. And then I can track it. The moment that ticket drop, the money already set aside for that, it's booked. It's booked. So looking at the different days, and then TikTok gives you a lot of information. Travel, all these big travelers, they give you a lot of information that is free. The information free on the internet. You just got to use it skillfully. And so you learn a lot of tricks that way. And you realize that travel is affordable. Travel is affordable. It's just what you want to do, how much you want to do, and the desire. Once you have the desire, you set your bookings in, you write down your plan, and definitely have a good plan. You on your way to see the whole world.
That's right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jessica, because in Passport Tomorrow, I actually did the clickable links. So like how Jessica said, and that's why I made it into an ebook. Because you think books sometimes, you think like, oh my goodness, my life is already very much busy. And just to be able to dive into a book would be a lot. So what I did, I put clickable links there so that you were able to, tonight, you were able to go and click each section and actually start planning your trip. I call it like an imaginary, almost like a mock-up, like a mock trip. So you click those links, you go on Expedia, I have the steps there. You go on the other apps and you think about things to do. We talk about travel moves and it talks more about that in the book. And it's something that you just keep going to. So it's not an ebook to say, well, okay, I read it and I put it down. You always make reference to it because it's like you find it so useful instead of going this way and that way to try to figure it out yourself, it's like a blueprint. It's there for you. So you just click right on those links, and then you pick where you want to be. The starting point of all achievement is desire. So you find out, okay, I would like to go to Dubai. And so tonight, when you're at your leisure, you put in Dubai. You go on that Expedia link, and then, like Jessica said, you track your flight. Jessica talked about, going on the apps, but I want Ashley to kind of dive a little deeper, and also Brandi, on what are your best practices for booking your trips affordably.
Okay, I can go ahead. So I think for me, what I do is I'm a planner when it comes to taking trips. So I tend to look for activities that I want to do in that city first. And then I also go to TikTok, like Jessica said, and I also type in like free things to do in the city to see if that's something that I would be interested in. I think that there are a lot of places that you could go that you could have very cool experiences for free. So that's something that I do. And then when I make a trip plans, I always set a budget for a trip. So then I go and I rank the activities that I want to do into, okay, I have to do this before I leave here versus this will just be a nice to do. And then I also plan like itineraries based on that. And then in terms of like planning financially, so I don't have any kids. I don't know dependents. I think it's a lot easier for me when to talk about like financially planning for trips. But I also set a separate like bank account just for leisure. So that's whether I want to do something fun in the city that I'm in or travel. And then I tend to, every time like I have a paycheck come in, I put money in there. So I'm continuously saving throughout the year for trips when they come up. So then I can plan from that bank account what I'm able to afford based on how much money I've saved as I have had paychecks go into that. And it's automatically deducted. So I believe we don't work to suffer. Like you have to enjoy the work you're putting in on your job. So that's why I decided to have like automatic savings go to an account strictly for leisure.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Ashley and Brandi. Traveling as a family. Listen, a baby to Dubai is elite. I love it. How do you afford travel, Brandi? What are your best practices?
Okay, so I also do group travels. So I get a group of Bahamians. Majority of them are my friends, but if they have friends that are interested in coming, they can come as well. And also, I have a group of Turks Islanders that travel with me to different states or different countries. So far, we've done Mexico, and then we've done a few states in the US. And right now they're joining us on the Thailand trip. So we're going to Thailand, Bali, and Japan in October. So they're all joining us on that trip. And what I did for them and what I do is anytime that I'm going Asia or Europe, I plan at least a year in advance. So I gave them a whole travel itinerary by November of last year, I believe, or a little before November, so October of last year. They received an itinerary giving them the full cost breakdown, giving them a monthly plan tracker on the monthly payments that they would need to make in order to be able to afford this trip. And it also gave them 2 months to save, to do any other additional saving. So what we did was, what I do is I use this flight tracker. I live by this flight tracker. I put it in the chat already. Momondo.
Okay.
It is the best that I've seen for cheap flights. So I go on Momondo. I put in the place that I want to go to. And before I even do that, I was supposed to tell you guys, I have a bucket list of countries that I want to visit. So make that your first thing that you do. Create your bucket list. List every country that you want to visit. It doesn't have to be in any order, but just list the countries that you want to visit. After you've done that and you've decided which country is going to be the country that you focus on for this year, you start planning accordingly. So you're going to go on Momondo. You're going to look up that country, look up the time frame, the months that you want to go. They're going to give you the cost breakdown, the price for the tickets. You're going to set that to track that price. Momondo also tells you if that price is higher than normal, or lowest that it's ever been, or currently in the middle, and it will go lower. So that's why I love that tracker. So it will tell you, it will give you a starting point. You will know what you need to save in order to purchase that ticket. When that ticket is at its ultimate lowest and it's time to buy, once you have the alert on your phone from Momondo, it's going to message you and say, this is the time, buy this ticket now.
Okay.
You purchase your ticket and you, like I said, the first part about it is booking the trip. Once you've booked that trip, go on TikTok, go on Google, go on Instagram, go on Facebook, look for things to do, look for places to see, things that you're interested in. Start building your itinerary. I use Canva to build my itineraries. Get Canva savvy. Use the ebook or use the Passport to More book now. Write everything in there. What you plan on doing, how you plan on doing it, where you plan on going while you're there. Once you do that, you're all set. You save for the months. Give yourself 2 months where you're just saving for spending money as well, and you'll be good to go.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Brandi. And definitely, you do not want to not go to Europe, Asia, or any part of the world without getting Passport to More, because even when you're in the airport, and this is a conversation I have already seen that this conversation will be extended, to other. It will happen again, guys. So just look out for it, because it's just so much to share when it relates to travel, because you even have favorite airports. You have places that you go in the airport, just feel like, the vacation is here. Like London Heathrow. I love me London Heathrow. Throw the whole Miami airport away. I'm not hating on the US, because I love to go there to shop and what's not, but when you open yourself up to more, you get to see that it's like you're driving a luxury car and then you go back to a hoopty. It's like, no, I want it back. I don't want this. I want the next thing. And so with that being said, guys, we know that there are a lot of questions, but I just want to put my plug in there for Passport to More. It is the ultimate guide. It is for us, by us. Don't leave tonight without it. 242-812-7156. Message me so we could get those orders processed. It's instant, so you get it right away, so you can start planning your trip as of tonight. We also have She Writes, Mastermind Journal, as well as Wanderlust Journal, and we have bundles. So when you message me, we'll have the after party over there on TikTok. But right now, we want to get into questions and our testimonials. So we're wrapping up now, guys. So I know that some persons are burning to ask some questions. Right before we do that, Muff, could you tell us what's happening in the chat, please?
Yes. So in the chat right now, Dexter is saying, yes, I love it. Hooper is good for tracking prices too. And Brandi says, Momondo is great for flight price tracking. And also there's a 10% off each. Dexter's saying that yes, 10% out of each check into a travel account. So that was a good tip that Brandi gave to us. And also Brandi is saying her favorite airport is in Paris, the Charles de Gaulle. I haven't been there. Yeah, that one airport. And she says that she loves it.
Yes. I mean, a favorite airport is actually a thing. Dexter, if you would be so kind, if you're still there, what do you say to the man that says Dexter is actually American, but since Tony already spoke on, what his experience was like being a Black man and traveling, but I would like Dexter to share, what do you say to the man that says travel is a bougie girl thing? There's that stigma, guys. Men have this thing that, it's for girls. I don't want to go. Don't sign me up. Or they think, it's for softies. Dexter, what do you say to the man that says travel is for girls, or it's an aesthetic thing?
Travel is for everybody, man.
Are you there, Dexter? Well, did you leave? I wanted to know, because you just came from Belize, right? And what kind of things do you do as a male? You just came back from Cape Town, South Africa. We're Instagram buddies, so I watch, right? And when you travel, you start to connect with persons who are into things, into travel. And so, Dexter, firstly, what did you do in Cape Town? What are some of the things that men do, when they're on vacation?
Man, travel is life. The world is bigger than the city that you're from. For that man out there who's scared to do it, waiting on your bros and your friends, man, don't wait on them. Go see the world. Go experience it for yourself. So you could tell your kids about it or whoever. Like the world is bigger than the city, the state that you're from. Africa, that's a dream come true. Go back to your roots. It's a lot I could say, man. Like indulge in your roots.
Give us something. You've been to Africa. One thing that you said, give us one thing why we need to go to Africa.
Your roots, tracing back to your roots, learning the history and seeing all that we've been through and still fighting to this day that's not out there to the public, man. Just the roots and just knowing your information to take back home to spread to the next person. Knowledge is power.
All right. Thank you, Dexter. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for coming on to the Bahamian Talk. American, we don't have anything against America, it's just that we want more. And because you went to Africa, so it's the same thing. We just want more. So we want to get into the questions and answers right before we wrap up. I thank you guys for not pulling the parachute and going. That means that we're all engaged. About 40 persons are on, so we're happy to entertain any questions at this time. Moffi already went through the chat, right? What was going on in the chat. And so raise your hand on the Zoom. If there's any questions in the chat, we'll take them off the chat, but you could raise your hand virtually and the panelists will be happy to answer your question. Muff, if there are any questions in the chat, just let me know. And if there are none, we can get it. We could definitely wrap up. Okay, no question?
Yes, Erinique says, I'm someone who really wants to travel more, but I get pretty nervous on long flights. I'd love to hear any tips or advice you might have for staying calm, distracted, or just making the journey more comfortable.
Anyone, you guys want to take anyone? Well, Ashley went the furthest. She went to Japan. We went to China, but Japan is further than China. So go ahead, Ash.
So actually, that was actually the shorter flight I took. I did a 16-hour flight between Miami and Dubai. That was a lot. I would say honestly, sleep. If you're interested in taking long flights, normally what I do, I kind of stay up throughout the day, so I'm tired enough to just sleep on flights, and then entertainment. I take books, I watch movies, I journal, I work if the plane have Wi-Fi. So I think that keeping yourself entertained is a big thing. And then one thing I did, so far I've been to like about 18 countries. So I travel a lot, but I always hated flying. So one thing I did was I became very familiar with planes. Like I would watch a lot of videos on YouTube just so I could feel a bit more comfortable as I flew more. So I think that the things you think are going to happen is very unlikely to happen. Flying is actually safer than driving a car. So I think a lot of it is getting out of your own head. And I like to say, before you go on trips, don't make yourself nervous by thinking negative thoughts. Definitely pray about it and let God protect as he does always. And it's out of your hands after that.
Awesome tips, Ash. And I would also say they feed you about 3 times when you were on those flights as well, those long haul flights. And people have varying opinions about the food, but all of those things, the entertainment, the food, sleeping, definitely. I like to say when you go through London, the flight normally leaves from Nassau at 10 o'clock in the night. So we love to go from here to London just to break that up, because you're going when you're sleeping anyway. And so your body naturally, before you change that time zone, your body naturally says, okay, it's sleep time. So
that's what I was about to say as well. I usually choose red-eye flights so that by the time I'm on it, it's like 12 o'clock in the night, 11 o'clock in the night. I'm going to go to sleep anyway. So by the time I'd already slept about 8 hours, I'm halfway there. I'm literally halfway there. So try to look for red-eye flights. And if you're not a sleeper, if you can't sleep on planes, stay calm and just find things to offset your mind from thinking about being on this flight so long. Do things like puzzles, write in your journal, do things that will keep you occupied. But I'm a sleeper. From I get on that plane, I wake up when it's time to eat or time to get off the plane.
So what do you tell hubby? Like, so I saw this joke on TikTok where it says, put the thing around your neck so persons can know even if you're sleeping to wake them up so you could eat. So
Yes, my husband does you know, some of the airlines you can put to wake you up. You can put on the screen to wake you up. He makes sure that he's up for every meal, and he'll wake me up for every meal. I can depend on him for that.
so they could feed. Yeah, so you could be fed. Love it. Anything happening in the chat, Muff? Any
Oh,
questions?
absolutely. So, talking about recommendations for the long flights, Dexter says, have faith that everything is going to be all right. He also recommends soundproof headphones. Eronique says, I'm not sleeping either. And also, Stanlea says, I'm not sleeping on no plane. LOL.
Yeah, that's funny. So you're gonna spend how much hours? It's from here to
Right. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And
Yes.
you'll probably get used to it. You get used to flying, and then you'll get used to sleeping, and it will all come natural.
and somehow on those big jets, you don't really feel it. You before long, you're just like, okay. It honestly, you get so used to it that, like Brandi said, you're almost immune to it. Like, okay,
Especially if you're flying on Emirates. Oh my gosh. If you're flying on Emirates, you're gonna sleep. You're gonna love it.
oh really? We have
You're
to
gonna sleep. Absolutely love Emirates. Like
I gotta keep my eye
always
on
trying to-
everybody on that plane.
Sally-
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, she said she has to keep her eye on everybody.
She
on
says she has to watch everyone. Simone says, LOL. Stanlea says, boy, I don't know. And I agree with them as well. I'm not a fan of falling asleep, especially when traveling alone.
You guys are not going to be up for 16 hours on a flight, I promise you. So we'll come back to this. We'll have travel. We'll have travel talk part two.
Part two,
I
yeah.
don't know about y'all, but the moment my seatbelt is clink clink, I am out.
No, sir.
Okay, guys, any other questions or anyone wants to have any comments? We're getting ready to wrap up now. So if there's any final things that you want to say before we bid adieu, all righty. So to
I
everybody,
think I saw
do.
another question.
Okay.
I saw another question in the chat. Danielle said, what advice would you give to someone who does not have an American visa, but still wants to travel the world from the Bahamas? It's totally possible. You don't need a visa to get to these places. America, like we said, is nothing compared to Europe and Asia and also the Caribbean, because I've been to some Caribbean countries, and let me tell you, the culture is different than what we have in the Bahamas. The people are different than what we have in the Bahamas, but you will love it. You will love it. I went to St. Lucia in October of last year, and I have to go back. I absolutely loved St. Lucia. I thought I wasn't gonna like Eastern Caribbean food. I just thought that, I don't know, I was not gonna enjoy that trip. And I absolutely enjoyed it. So don't be afraid, book that flight. You don't have to worry about having a US visa once you're not traveling back through the US, because you cannot travel back through the US if you do not have a visa. You can travel from the Bahamas with a clean police record through the US, leaving the US to get to Europe, but you cannot travel back if you don't have a visa. Just always keep that in mind. I would
Awesome,
also
awesome.
add that you could use airlines like Copa Airlines to go to Panama, and then also fly from Panama to other Caribbean countries. But the same with British Airlines to go to London, and then use that as a gateway to go to other European countries. So that not having an American visa is not a limitation. We're seeing a lot of these places as well. You could even go from London to Africa or London to Asian countries as well. It may be a little bit of a longer journey, but it's still possible.
Thank you, thank you.
Guys, I want you all to know that there's a lot going on a domestic side. They're not just going to the family islands. They are not just going to the family islands. Basically, you could hop on Copa, and a lot of different airlines come on that side. So once you want to travel, you definitely don't have to go through the US. You do your research and see which airlines cater to come into Nassau, using Expedia, sometimes you could just do search and just put in Nassau and search to anywhere, and you see the amount of different airlines that come, and you'll stop over programs to your. I just want to point this out here. The Copa over program is like really one of the good ones that I can say right now is they fly from Nassau. You could stop in Panama for up to 7 days and go to a different country for the price of one. That's 2 trips for the price of one. That's 2 countries, 2 stamps for the price of one. Honestly, don't let that visa hold you back. Don't let that visa
Thank you
hold you back.
so much, Jessica. And I don't know, is that Danielle, my sister? Put yes in the chat if that's Danielle. You didn't respond as yet. Okay, well, I don't know if you were here when Tony was speaking, because that was one of the first things that we talked about how he talked about how his US visa rerouted us. So a denial cost us to basically see the entire world. And so we've never, from 2000 and probably, let's just say years, all of the trips that we go on now that are international, we never go through the US. We either go through London or we go through Canada. Now, when you go through Canada, when we went to Paris, we went from Nassau to Montreal, which is Canada, and we went to Paris, right? Then we went to Dubai. We went from Nassau to London to Dubai. When we went on the European cruise, we went from Nassau to London to, help me out, babe, Nassau to London to Germany, and then we took our flight, we boarded our European cruise from Germany. And I want to add to here, and like I said, all of these questions that you're asking is in Passport Tomorrow. So for $15, you actually get the playbook. Or you have flight durations, you have clickable links, or the Copa Airlines that she talked about. You actually have a whole list of countries that takes you right here from Nassau, takes you directly over there, takes you to a direct flight. So for example, Nassau to Panama, no stops. You go straight on Copa Airlines. Nassau to Cuba, no stops, no US involved, right? So we know that, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to create this travel talk, because I realized that a lot of us, we're not privy to travel education, right? We don't know these things because the persons who wanted more, like myself, Ashley, Brandi, Jessica, we wanted to experience more, so we did the research. So you would hear them saying, I went to TikTok, I went to YouTube, I went to, and that's why I said Passport to More was made for us. When you talk about alerting your bank, for example, before you travel, Tony and I have the experience, and I'm gonna wrap up because I could talk there all day about travel, but we had a bad banking experience with Commonwealth Bank and when we were on our European cruise. So like Passport to More tells you, like, take at least 3 cards, right? So it is your playbook. You don't have to worry about anything mentioned about the US and Passport to More. Every single thing is there step by step. Canada, direct flight. Panama, direct flight. Cuba, direct flight. You have a lot of places that you could go from Nassau straight to the country without stopping. And I also talk about how you tackle, some persons say, nobody asks, but how do you tackle going into a country that doesn't speak your language? The first experience I had was going to China, and I give an extensive story about, I was like, I have to do this for 2 weeks, but I learned along the way. There's strategies and things that you learn, and I talk about it all in there. It's filled with stories. You'll sit back, you'll laugh. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, nah, girl, no. But it's all in there, guys. So those persons who have the questions, everything is in Passport to More. So with that being said, guys, I want to just say a special thank you to every person that showed up tonight, to Jessica, to Ashley, to Brandi. It's really heartfelt. They're my TikTok family. And when I told them, I want you guys to come on a talk, they obliged me. We would always interact with each other's content on TikTok. That's how I know them. Travel unites. And that's the message that I really want to give to you. 2 things. You can do it. If we could do it, you could do it. And travel is the one thing that you buy that truly makes you richer. So whether you never left the Bahamas or you're ready to take your next journey, I believe that this was about reminding you that travel is not just a luxury. It's a life upgrade. It is a new lens. It's legacy. Because if life is truly what we make it, let it be grand. Guys, get your Passport to More. I'll be waiting for you over on WhatsApp. It's the instant download. We have bundles with the travel journals, Wanderlust, Mastermind Journal, and all of that good stuff. So message me and we shall start the party over there. And I want to remind you, the first thing you have to do is want it, and then you can have it. Your first step is desire. You can be in any country as long as you want to be there. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for coming.